All right. So today I have another G boxing glove, and I know not many people know what these gloves really are here in the United States where I live, but it's important because I really like these gloves and I really want to, kind of get them on the map a little bit more over here. These are the G boxing Italia 100 GSS Sparring gloves. Now that's a pretty long name, right? I got these in 16 ounces, and it says GSS1 right here. Obviously, the Italian colors. Right now, I think it's like a debossed portion right here. It says made in Italy. I don't know if you could see it. So yeah, my interest in the glove was basically, a glove that's made in Italy, G boxing. I wanted to know how the leather was gonna feel because, uh, you know, that was essentially something I was very interested in. These are in 16 ounce, like I showed you before. I weighed them, and they're a little different in terms of weight from each other, but they're okay. One is 15.6 ounces, and the other one is 15.9 ounces. So that being said, not a big deal for me. I think that it's really close to the weight, and the other one's kind of almost a half an ounce underweight. So it is what it is, but it's not the end of the world. So that's not a big deal. When it comes to the leather of the glove, it's an Italian cowhide leather. Now, this is kind of the interesting part of the glove. The glove itself, it has it's very smooth, right? I could feel it's very smooth. It has a nice smooth texture, but it does still have a little bit of a bumpy texture as well. I don't know if you can see it on there, but it does have texture. Um, kind of a glossy feel a little bit, but I actually like it a lot. If it feels like kind of like a nice bag or something, The leather itself is decent thickness. It's not the craziest thickness in the world, but it has pretty good thickness. The smell of the leather smells really good, actually. It smells like, like a nice wallet or something. So I actually really enjoyed that about these gloves. I was excited that, I actually got a pair of gloves with leather. It was, not just from Pakistan like the other G boxing gloves I have. The leather is calf leather, but it's in Pakistan. It's made in Pakistan. These ones are made in Italy, so with Italian material. So because of that, it's pretty cool. The liner, they say, at least when I researched it, it was like a polyester satin liner. But in my opinion, I mean, I guess I could say that, but it feels like a polyester liner, truthfully, through and through. I've seen so many polyester liners that this one just feels the same. Sounds the same. So in terms of the satin, maybe there's a percentage of satin in there. With the polyester, it's not just fully 100% polyester or something, but it's it feels like a polyester liner. In terms of the padding, so this is the interesting part because it's not too much about the padding. I know it's a multi-layer padding, but always say it's an Italian, foam from Italy, an EVA foam, essentially, right? That's what they say. But it feels like about 3 layers of padding. It feels like this top portion has a softer layer, and it feels like the portion that's onto your hands and the inside portion that connects to your knuckles, that's also a soft layer. And in the middle here, you can see as I squeeze it, I can't squeeze it past this portion because it feels like a really dense EVA foam sandwiched in between. So to me, it feels like almost like 3 layers of padding here. But that's just my opinion on the fact. They don't tell you much about that besides the fact that it's an antibacterial, hypoallergenic, non-toxic foam. So that's the foam. Now, when it comes to the design of the glove, this glove kind of, I wanted to say it was going to compare. It's a sparring glove. So usually when I see sparring gloves in this kind of, decently, mid mid size, I assume it's kind of like a winning glove. But as you can see, there's kind of like a double cuff here, but this is a very, very small portion here. Very small. It's a small cuff as well, but it's a very small portion right here for the double cuff. This is basically essentially just to cinch up your laces. Yeah, so that's an interesting how small that is. It doesn't really bother me, but it is a design. I've seen it before. It's not like I've never seen it, but It's, you know, such a small, it's such a small part right here. So it's really funny. Also, you see that there's the logos here. That's something I've always noticed on the last one as well. One logo goes up, one logo goes down. You know, you have the G boxing here. This is in gold. It's a nice shiny gold on the bottom. Up top, it's kind of more of a matte gold. You don't have that nice shine that you do on the bottom. So keep that in mind. I would say that this glove, obviously you have the split thumb here. I like the fact that they stitched this portion in. This is not going to go away. That's great. I love stitching in like this. Debossed right here. The debossed, I wouldn't call it a logo, but just like the Made in Italy sign here. That's kind of cool. I like that as well. I like things that are embroidered or debossed or anything like that. I'm a big fan of those things. In terms of the design of the glove, I think it's really cool. You know, obviously I got the white, gold, and black colorway, and they also offer you like all white colorway. But I have too many all white gloves, and I thought that this was kind of a cool contrast, so I went for this one as well. Now, when it comes to the stitching of the glove, as you can see, it's not bad. There is nothing crazy. I think this is probably the only problem I have here. There's probably a little part of the stitching that's popping out, if you could see it. But other than that, the stitching is pretty clean. I'll look all the way around. I'll do the other glove as well. Stitching pretty clean. You know, maybe there's a little bit of pulling here on this portion if you're gonna nitpick it. I don't really care too much about the stitching as much as some people might, because like I said, you beat these gloves up, and if as long as they stick together, as long as they don't tear, then I'm okay. So if the stitching is a tad bit off, I'm not going crazy over it. In terms of the wrist support here and the cuff, I want to talk about how this is very dense. This portion is dense. The thickness is probably about an inch. Maybe I'm being generous about the inch, but soft padding on the inside, very dense here on the outside. Same with this portion here. It's kind of a medium in firmness here. In terms of the front, though, very, very soft. Very, very soft. There is not much protection when it comes to the front on the padding here in terms of the inside of the palm. So that's kind of reminiscent of, you know, like a winning glove or something like that, because a lot of gloves out there, just, for some reason, they do that. I prefer maybe a tad bit more firmness on the wrist, but, you know, it is what it is. In terms of the thumb, it kind of looks like a winning thumb. I would say the winning thumb, you know, it's a little slim. Maybe the winning thumb might be a little slimmer than this, but this reminds me of a winning thumb, especially when you put your finger in here, your thumb in here. You'll definitely feel that there's a difference in the thumb. Obviously, you have the split thumb here. This is kind of normal nowadays. Yeah, so, you know, you have the attached thumb portion right here where it attaches the thumb over to the hand. That's on like every glove now, so I don't even normally mention it. So in terms of the thumb, I would say, yeah, it's a very, in my opinion, a very long thumb, and it goes downward, which is interesting. It's nice, it's long, and it goes downward. Even when I put my fingers in here, I can't even get to the tip of this. I probably have like an inch or inch and a half left of space when I put my fingers in here, so that's interesting as well. So the thumb is a little unique. It's a little unique. So now, when it comes to probably something I really love and something I don't love so much is, you know, the grip bar. I love the grip bar's angle on the grip bar. I think it's a good size. I think it's a good firmness. I think it's a nice medium firm. Maybe a little more firm than medium. And I like that it angles kind of diagonally a little bit. And I think that works well, because I think that works better for the hands, because your hands, obviously, even when I do this, my hands, you know, they kind of do, they're more diagonal. So I do like a little more of a diagonal grip bar. They do have that, the double stitching on top and the bottom of the grip bar. Definitely nice and secure. Now, the thing I was talking about here is that in this position here, I don't see any air holes. No air holes here, no air holes here, and no air holes on the thumb. So I think that's interesting because I like air holes, and I think this glove kind of needs them. But, you know, to each his own. Not everybody needs, you know, air holes. They don't really care too much about it, but I do. And I'll tell you a little bit more why and when I put my hands in the glove. Once you put your hands in this glove, right? Actually, I'll get to the laces first. The laces, I think, are nice and long. Look at that. So I love the laces. In my opinion, more gloves should have nice long laces like that. If I were to wrap this around, I could go at 1, 2, 2.5, maybe 3 times around on the wrist. And a lot of gloves, maybe you might just go around 1 and then it'll stop right here. And I'm not a big fan of gloves that do that because I feel like, you know, you need longer laces. But laces, obviously, you can get new laces. I always say that you could always get new laces, but I do like that these come with really long, you know, stretchy laces. And that's a real big plus for me when it comes to the comfort of glove. Very, very comfortable. Extremely, actually, probably one of the more comfortable gloves I've ever had. I will say, I'll touch on the fingertip compartment first. When I put my hands in here, the fingertip compartment has this really, really, really round, it's like a rolled up piece of leather or something that's, or felt or something that's connected to the stitching, but it's a big piece. So it's probably like this big in there. And it kind of goes flat. So it is kind of like a secondary grip bar, but like a flatter, not so round, but like a flatter secondary grip bar. And that does allow you to really grasp down on the glove. So I really, really like that about this glove. Now, secondly, I'll say the glove here and this portion of the glove is a little shallow. Like I can feel my fingers, my pinky finger kind of rubbing up against my ring finger a little bit. I wish this portion of the glove didn't taper down like this, and maybe it was a little more wide. So instead of being tapered down, I wish it was a tad bit more wide, and then you have more area in the fingertip compartment. I don't have big hands, so I think my hands are just very regular, medium-sized hands. So these fit really snug on my hands. So if somebody has bigger hands, these are 16 ounces, I don't know how good you're going to do in terms of the fingertip compartment area. Now, it works for me. I kind of broke it in a little bit, and you kind of get that feeling out. But for people with bigger hands, maybe you that won't be the case for you, right? Now, when it comes to the thumb, very comfortable thumb. Like I said before, my thumb probably stops here. It comes up and stops here. It does do a good job of putting your thumb below the punch surface area. You have all this beautiful big padding here. It's a lot of padding. So it's really hard to get to your knuckles here, and very hard to get to the tip of your thumb. So you have no problems jamming your thumb in this glove. Now, in terms of the hand compartment on the inside, like I said before, it's kind of snug. It kind of sandwiches your hands down, but there is space in terms of the width. So I have a lot of space here, and it's probably like a nice, as you can see I'm pinching, I probably have a good inch extra space, or even more if I had bigger, wider hands. So that's cool too. It's just that if you do have bigger hands, you might have issues with this portion of the glove. But the rest of the glove, I think you'd be okay. It does put your hands in a nice snug position, but it's not too crazy or anything like that. So, yeah. So in terms of that, that is cool. Now I want to talk about the punch dynamics of the glove here. This is probably one of my favorite parts because, as you can see, just overall the sizing of the glove isn't massive or anything. It's kind of like a squared box look almost because of the padding. But once you like cinch up this whole thing, it gives you like this nice, you know, fist look to the glove, and I actually like it. And this part is the coolest part to me. It's just that this is like a really padded glove. It feels like a really good sparring glove, but it has a really like extra big wide punch surface here, and it has a pretty decently flat punch surface. So because of that, you get a lot, you know, of good feedback. You get a lot of pop with these gloves. So let me see if I can do it here. Now for a foam glove, it's a multi-layer foam glove. This is, I love that. I love how that feels, right? So I am impressed with that. Now I want to talk about the reason why I had an issue without this not having any air holes. It's because the glove gets kind of hot, despite the liner not being a hot liner. Because when you put your hands in, it kind of feels like a cool liner. But when you're using the glove and you clench your hands up and down, I don't know if you can hear it, but I could literally feel wind coming out from the palm and from my wrist. So like wind is literally pushing out. So all this is kind of trapping so much air, and when you push down on it, you could feel the air pushing out from your arms. Like the air has to go somewhere. So if I were to critique the glove, I would just, you know, put air holes. If you're not going to put air holes here, put it right here. Put it on the thumb if I had to critique it. But yeah. Beautiful. I really like how they feel, especially like, you know, I was really shocked. You put them on, you think that they're gonna feel like pillow gloves. You're not gonna feel anything, but you do. The padding of the glove, I would say, is a medium. You can see I'm pushing down on it, but like I said, there's like a sandwich piece of EVA foam or something on the middle here, so you cannot get to your knuckles by punching. And you can kind of see it. I mean, there's a lot of padding here, so trying to get to your knuckles with all that padding is not going to happen. So that really just means ultimately this is a super protective glove. So I'm here, you know, yeah. So even when I clamp down, it almost feels like almost to a point where it's a medium firm, but then, you know, you can see how it could push down a lot, you know. So because of that, it's like a medium. It's definitely not a firm glove, but it's not a soft glove by any means. So this is an extremely protective glove, and this glove would be a killer with the sparring. I think this is a crazy good sparring glove. I will compare the size to some other gloves I have here, just so you can get a better look at the size. I don't know if anybody's, you know, familiar with the King County gloves. These are the Empire Series gloves, and these are their sparring glove. And as you can see, this is bigger than this, right? This glove's kind of shorter. But yeah, when you put it this way, it kind of feels like, you know, it looks a little different. But in terms, they're not, you know, crazy. This is obviously, you know, thicker. All that padding makes it a lot thicker. But when you put it like this, it's not a big glove. So I would say, you know, it's like a medium. I wouldn't necessarily call it compact glove, because I consider those compact gloves are like, you know, the Hit and Move Suvari gloves or something like that. Those are super compact. I would put this right in the middle here. I think it's a really good size. I enjoy this size. Now, for the performance of the thing, I think it's really good on the bags. Honestly, I think it's really good on the bags. I haven't tried these on the mitts or anything, but all gloves really sound good on mitts, to be honest with you. Mitts are just kind of, the mitts kind of, if they have good mitts, they sound good, you know. So because of that, you know, I really think this is going to be a really great sparring glove. Honestly, probably one of the best sparring gloves you could buy. And I think that on the bags, you'd be very surprised. Now, obviously, I have some wear and tear here. It's like a screen printed logo. You're starting to see it wear off a little bit. Not a huge deal to me. But the right glove has it. The left glove is pretty perfect. So you don't see it on the left glove much, but the right glove, I'm a southpaw, so maybe that's the reason why I kind of break in the right glove more than I do the left glove. Now, in terms of the price of the gloves, so these obviously are from Geezer's Boxing. They're not from the US. So you have to convert the pounds into dollars here in the U.S. So in terms of pounds, the retail price was $349.99 in pounds, but the sale price is $119.99 in pounds. Now that's converted to the retail price being $476 in US dollar, and or because of the sale, it's $163 in the US dollar. Now keep in mind, nowadays you have to pay for shipping, obviously, but you have to pay for what they call duty fees or tariffs or whatever you want to call it. So because of that, the price will raise because of the fact that you're going to have to pay the extra for the shipping, and you're going to have to pay extra for the duty fees on top of the shipping if you're from the US getting these gloves. Now, if you're from anywhere in the UK or whatever, I'm sure everything's great with you guys. But we got to pay a little extra for these now. So in my opinion, the sale price is really great. I think that obviously the retail price is too high, but it's not crazy, you know, because I actually really do enjoy the leather of this glove. I enjoy the smell of it. I enjoy the feel, the texture. I enjoy just all around the comfort of it. This is a very, very comfortable glove. The only things I would change, like I said before, maybe I'll make this portion a little firmer, and I would need air holes. You know, I really would like air holes, and maybe I'm nitpicking. This portion should probably be a little more wide to accommodate bigger fingers, but I would say definitely one of my favorites. You know, these are one of the gloves that I have in my room, and I kind of put them on every now and then, and I use the bag just to just to feel a little bit of it. It's one of those gloves. I probably put these on just because of the comfort more than a lot of the other gloves. Now, yeah. So that being said, I mean, if you guys want to go and get these gloves, I really think that it's pretty nice. I think it's unique. I think the look of it's unique, and I think that the feel of it's unique. So, you know, in my opinion, you know, I'm all about trying out new gloves and trying out new leather and trying out, you know, different feel. And I think this glove really gives me a different feel, and it makes me feel like I had a different experience. So that's probably why I really enjoy these gloves. So yeah, that's my review. I think these are a really good glove, and I think that, you know, if you're willing to pay the money for it, you should do it.